The night shift at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Most operators spent their time watching endless streams of data scroll across their screens, broken only by the occasional coffee break. But on this cold October night, everything changed. Alan White sat up straight in his chair as his monitor lit up with unusual readings. At first, he thought it was a glitch. The signals were like nothing he had seen before. Thousands of large objects had just appeared at the edge of the solar system, far beyond Pluto's orbit. "Sir," Alan called out to his supervisor, "you need to see this." Station Chief Robert Miller rushed over, his coffee cup still in hand. As he looked at the screen, the cup slipped from his fingers and shattered on the floor. Nobody paid attention to the spilled coffee. "Get me Captain Reed at Space Command. Now." Within minutes, Captain Tom Reed's face appeared on the main screen. His expression turned serious as he studied the data being sent to him. The objects weren't just sitting there. They were slowly drifting toward the inner solar system, and they were massive. "How many?" Captain Reed asked. "We're counting over 50,000 objects, sir," Alan replied, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "And they're all giving off energy signatures we've never seen before." Before anyone could respond, a new signal cut through their communications. It wasn't in any human language, but it was clearly a message. The universal translation system they had developed for potential alien contact began working immediately. "This is Fleet Commander, requesting immediate assistance. Systems failing. Life support critical. Seeking safe harbor." The message repeated, growing weaker with each transmission. Captain Reed didn't hesitate. He opened a channel to respond. "Unknown Fleet, this is Captain Tom Reed of the United Earth Defense Force. We receive your transmission. Please identify yourselves and state your emergency." There was a long pause. The entire control room held their breath. When the reply came, it was clearer this time. "Captain Reed, we are the Starborn. Our fleet carries the last survivors of our system. We have traveled for 30 of your Earth years. Our quantum drives are failing. Without assistance, we will lose power to critical systems within days." The translation couldn't hide the desperation in the alien commander's voice. Captain Reed looked at his senior staff, who had gathered around him. The situation was unprecedented. Humanity's first contact with alien life was a massive refugee fleet in need of immediate help. "Starborn Fleet, maintain your current position. We need to assess the situation before we can proceed. Please share your technical data so we can understand what assistance you require." The data packets that followed shocked Earth's best scientists. The Starborn ships used technology far beyond human understanding. But ironically, this advanced technology was now failing them. Their drives had been damaged by prolonged exposure to an unusual type of radiation in deep space. As the situation became clear, Captain Reed called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. The debate was intense but brief. Despite some concerns about security, the decision was unanimous. Humanity would help. Reed returned to his command station and opened the channel again. "Starborn Fleet, this is Captain Reed. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, I want you to know that we will assist you. We don't fully understand your technology yet, but we will find a way to help. Please maintain your position while we prepare our response teams." The reply was filled with relief. "Thank you, Captain. We had heard stories of Earth. Some said you were too primitive to help. Others warned us you were dangerous. We took a chance because we had no choice. It seems the stories were wrong." Reed smiled slightly. "The stories weren't entirely wrong. We might be primitive by your standards, and we can be dangerous when threatened. But we also help those in need. It's what humans do." As the message ended, Reed looked at his crew. "Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have our work cut out for us. Let's show our new friends what humanity can do." The next few hours were a blur of activity as Earth prepared for its biggest challenge yet. Nobody in the control room knew it then, But this was the moment when humanity would prove itself to the galaxy, not through advanced technology or military might, but through their willingness to help strangers in need. The massive hangar of Earth's space station, one had never been so crowded. Engineers and scientists from every major nation worked side by side, examining the first starborn scout ship that had been allowed to dock for inspection. The alien vessel gleamed under the bright lights, its silver hull showing signs of the long journey through space. Anna Miller walked slowly around the ship, her tablet computer recording every detail. As Earth's top engineer in quantum mechanics, she had been chosen to lead the assessment team. What she found both amazed and worried her. "This is incredible," she muttered, running her hand along the ship's smooth surface. "But also very bad." Captain Reed stood nearby with the starborn representative, a tall being who called himself Blue Voice, watching Anna work. "What have you found?" Reed asked. Anna turned to face them, her expression serious. "Their technology is far more advanced than ours, but that's actually part of the problem. The quantum drives they use are incredibly complex. They're powered by something similar to our solar energy, but much more efficient. The radiation damage isn't just in one spot. It's throughout their entire system." Blue Voice nodded slowly. "Yes, we lost many ships before we understood what was happening. The radiation field we passed through was unknown to us. It changed the way our drives work." Just then, Bill Cooper, the head of Earth's science division, rushed into the hangar. His face was red from running. "Captain Reed, we finished analyzing the data from the whole fleet. It's worse than we thought. All 50,000 ships are affected. At the current rate of deterioration, they have less than 2 weeks before critical systems start failing." The news sent a wave of whispers through the hangar. 50,000 ships. More than 10 million starborn lives at risk. The scale of the problem was enormous. Anna walked to a nearby workbench and picked up what looked like an ordinary piece of metal. "Look at this," she said, holding it up. "This is from one of our old satellites. 20 years in space, but still working perfectly. Do you know why?" Everyone gathered around her as she continued. "Because we couldn't make fancy quantum technology. We had to make things that last. Simple, strong, reliable. The starborn ships are amazing, but they're also fragile in ways ours aren't." Blue Voice moved closer, his large eyes studying the metal piece. "You believe your simpler technology might help us?" "I do," Anna replied. "But we need to work fast, and we'll need to try something that's never been done before." Captain Reed called an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. The plan was risky. They would need to convert several space stations into temporary shelters. They would need every engineer and scientist working around the clock. And they would need to convince the starborn to trust in technology they considered primitive. The meeting lasted for hours. Some leaders worried about the cost. Others feared sharing Earth's resources with aliens. But in the end, they all agreed. Humanity couldn't just watch millions die when they might be able to help. As the meeting ended, an alert came through. 3 starborn ships had just lost power to their life support systems. The race against time had begun. Back in the hangar, Anna and her team worked through the night. They studied the starborn technology, looking for ways to merge it with Earth's more robust systems. The starborn engineers watched with growing interest as the humans refused to give up, even when faced with problems they'd never seen before. "I don't understand," one starborn engineer said to Blue Voice. "Their technology is so basic, but they keep finding new ways to use it." "How?" Blue Voice watched as Anna's team successfully restored power to a damaged panel using modified Earth technology. "Perhaps," he said thoughtfully, "we have something to learn from them after all." By morning, Anna's team had developed their first prototype repair system. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't elegant. But initial tests showed it might just work. As the sun rose over Earth, Captain Reed stood at the hangar's observation window, watching ships from every nation bringing in supplies and equipment. Humanity was going all in on this rescue mission. They had no guarantees of success, no promise of reward. They were doing it simply because it was the right thing to do. Well, he said to himself, let's show the galaxy what humans can do when we work together. Dr. James Walker hadn't slept in 2 days, but he couldn't stop now. His lab at the International Space Center was covered in diagrams, broken pieces of alien technology, and countless coffee cups. He stared at the latest test results on his computer screen, then suddenly sat up straight. That's it, he shouted, startling his team members who were dozing nearby. We've been thinking about this all wrong. Anna Miller rushed over from her workstation. What did you find? James pointed to his screen excitedly. Look at this. We've been trying to fix their quantum drives with our regular repair methods. But what if instead? He grabbed a small metal container from his desk. What if we use these? Inside the container were thousands of tiny robots, each smaller than a grain of sand. They were Earth's newest technology, repair nanobots that could fix damage at the molecular level. Our normal repair methods are too big for their sensitive systems, James explained. But these little guys can get in there and fix the radiation damage bit by bit. Blue Voice, who had been watching from the corner, stepped forward. Your machines are so small, but how can something so primitive fix our advanced technology? James smiled. Sometimes the simplest solutions work best. These nanobots aren't as advanced as your systems, but that's exactly why they might work. They're tough, simple, and radiation doesn't bother them much. The team quickly set up a test. They took a damaged piece of starborne equipment and released a small group of nanobots onto it. Everyone gathered around the viewing screen, watching through powerful microscopes as the tiny machines began their work. Hour after hour passed. The nanobots moved through the damaged areas, repairing the atomic structure piece by piece. It was slow work, but it was working. Impossible, whispered one of the starborne engineers. Our own repair systems failed, yet these simple machines. Anna checked the readings. The radiation damage is being reversed. The quantum field is stabilizing. She turned to James. How many of these nanobots can we make? That's the best part, James replied. They can make copies of themselves using any metal we give them, and they're programmed to break down into harmless dust when their work is done. Captain Reed, who had been called to witness the test, stepped forward. How long to repair one ship? James did some quick calculations. With enough nanobots, maybe 2 days per ship. We can work on multiple ships at once if we make enough of them. And the risks? Reed asked. Minimal, James assured him. They can only repair, not modify. And they're too simple to malfunction in any dangerous way. Blue Voice had been studying the data carefully. Our council will need convincing. Many still believe Earth technology is too primitive to trust. Just then, alarms blared throughout the station. Another dozen starborne ships had lost power to critical systems. They were running out of time. Captain Reed turned to Blue Voice. Tell your council they have 2 choices. Trust our primitive solution or watch their people die. We're ready to help, but we need their permission to begin. The next few hours were tense. The Starborn Council debated while more ships reported failing systems. Finally, Blue Voice returned with their answer. The Council has agreed, he announced. They ask that you begin with one of our smaller ships, if it works. It'll work, James said confidently. He turned to his team. Let's show them what Earth's primitive technology can do. The first test ship was brought close to the space station. Under careful supervision, the nanobots were released onto its hull. Everyone watched the monitors anxiously as the tiny machines went to work. After 48 hours of continuous repair work, the ship's quantum drive powered up perfectly. The radiation damage was gone. The ship's systems were running better than they had in years. The Starborn Council was amazed. They immediately requested repairs begin on all their critical ships. Earth's factories began producing nanobots around the clock. As James watched the repair operation expand, Anna put a hand on his shoulder. Not bad for a bunch of primitive humans, huh? He grinned tiredly. Sometimes the best solutions aren't the most advanced ones. Sometimes they're just the ones that work. In space, more Earth ships arrived carrying supplies and nanobots. The biggest repair operation in human history was about to begin, all thanks to a simple idea that turned out to be exactly what was needed. The warning lights flashed red across Space Station 1's main control room. Jack Peters, the station's emergency coordinator, stared at the growing list of failing starborne ships with growing concern. "Captain Reed," he called out, "we've got critical failures in Sector 7. 30 ships just lost main power. Life support systems are failing." Reed rushed to the main display. The situation was worse than they'd feared. The radiation damage was spreading faster than predicted, and thousands of starborne lives were now at risk. "How many people on those ships?" Reed asked, his voice tense. "Over 10,000, Blue Voice answered, his usual calm voice shaking slightly. "Mostly families with young ones. They were placed in those ships because they were supposed to be our most stable vessels." Anna Miller and James Walker joined them at the display, both looking exhausted from days of non-stop work. The nanobot repairs were working, but they were too slow for this new emergency. "We can't repair the ships fast enough," James said, running calculations on his tablet. "Even with the nanobots working at full speed, it would take days to reach all those ships. They don't have that long." Reed made a quick decision. "Then we evacuate them. Right now." He turned to Jack. "How many Earth stations and ships can we convert to temporary shelters?" 8 stations within range," Jack replied. "And about 50 large transport ships. But sir, we've never attempted an evacuation of this scale before." "We've never attempted anything we're doing right now before," Reed replied. "But that hasn't stopped us yet." He opened a general channel to all Earth forces in the area. "This is Captain Reed. We have a Level 1 emergency. I need all available ships and stations prepared for emergency evacuation procedures." This is not a drill. The response was immediate. Ships from every Earth nation began changing course toward the failing starborne vessels. Space stations began clearing cargo bays and living quarters to make room for refugees. "But the radiation in that sector," Blue Voice protested. "Your ships aren't designed to handle it. The same radiation that damaged our vessels will affect us too," Anna finished. "But our ships are simpler. We can run on backup systems longer. We'll have time to get in and out." The rescue operation began immediately. Earth ships approached the failing starborne vessels, their crews wearing protective suits. The radiation levels were dangerous, but not immediately lethal for short exposures. Inside the first failing ship, Earth rescue teams found frightened starborne families huddled in darkened corridors. The ship's emergency lights cast eerie shadows as humans helped aliens they'd never met before today onto their rescue vessels. "Life support failing on Ship 17, came a call over the radio. 5 minutes of air left. 2 Earth ships immediately changed course, pushing their engines to dangerous levels. They'd reached the failing vessel just in time, evacuating the last starborne as the ship's systems went dark. On Space Station 1, Reed watched as the number of rescued starborne grew. But so did the number of damaged human rescue ships. The radiation was taking its toll on Earth's vessels too. "Sir," Jack called out, "the solar monitoring station just picked up something. There's a massive solar flare heading our way." The news hit like a physical blow. A solar flare would flood the rescue zone with even more radiation, making evacuation impossible. They had less than 2 hours before it hit. "We can't stop the evacuation," Reed said firmly. "There are still thousands out there." He opened the general channel again. "All rescue ships, be advised. Solar flare approaching. Anyone who wants to pull out, do so now. No one will be blamed." The response came back immediately from dozens of rescue ships. "We're staying." Hour after hour, Earth ships braved the increasing radiation, pushing their engines and life support systems to the limit. Rescue crews worked until they reached dangerous radiation exposure levels. Then new crews took their place. By the time the solar flare hit, the last starborn had been evacuated from the failing ships. Every Earth station was overcrowded, and many rescue ships were damaged. But not a single life was lost. In the medical bay of Space Station 1, as doctors treated radiation exposure among the rescue crews, a starborn child asked her parent, "Why did they help us? They didn't even know us." The parent looked at the injured humans being treated nearby and replied, "Because that's what humans do. They help, no matter the cost to themselves." The medical bay of Space Station 1 was filled beyond capacity. Dozens of human rescue workers lay in beds, suffering from radiation exposure after the massive evacuation effort. Dr. Mary Wilson moved from bed to bed, checking vital signs, but she knew Earth's medical technology had limits. Some of the worst affected rescuers weren't responding to treatment. Blue Voice watched the scene with growing concern. He turned to his companion, the Starborn's chief medical officer, Green Healer. They spoke quietly in their language before approaching Captain Reed. "Captain," Blue Voice said, "we can help." Green Healer held up a small crystal device. "This is our medical regenerator. It can repair radiation damage to living tissue. We didn't offer it before because we thought your bodies might be too different. But we must try. Your people risked everything for us." Reed looked at Dr. Wilson, who nodded immediately. "We have nothing to lose," she said. The first patient they tried it on was Mike Turner, a young rescue pilot who had stayed in the radiation zone too long while saving a starborn family. The crystal device hummed softly as Green Healer moved it over Mike's chest. Within minutes, his vital signs began to improve. "It's working," Dr. Wilson exclaimed, checking her instruments. "The radiation damage is being reversed." Over the next few hours, the starborn medical team treated every injured human. Not a single life was lost. As the rescued humans recovered, something remarkable began to happen. The space station's halls filled with conversations between humans and starborn, each learning about the other's world. In the engineering section, Anna and James worked with starborn engineers to combine their technologies in new ways. The starborn's advanced knowledge merged with human practical solutions, creating repair methods that worked better than either could have managed alone. "Your nanobots are remarkable," a starborn engineer named Swiftmind said, watching the tiny machines work. "But if we add our quantum field technology to their programming." The improved nanobots worked 5 times faster than before. They could now repair the damaged ships more quickly than anyone had thought possible. Meanwhile, Earth's military ships patrolled the area. They had detected several unknown vessels lurking at the edge of the solar system. Scavengers and raiders attracted by the news of the damaged starborn fleet, but none dared approach when they saw Earth's ships standing guard. "They're protecting us," Blue Voice said to his council, "not because we can offer them anything in return, but because they believe it's right." In the station's main hall, something unprecedented was happening. Humans and starborn gathered to share meals, stories, and knowledge. Children from both species played together, inventing games that bridged their differences. Captain Reed watched this from the observation deck, standing with Blue Voice and Anna. "You know," Reed said, "when we first got your distress signal, some people were afraid. They thought helping aliens might be dangerous." Blue Voice's expression showed what might have been a smile. "And we feared showing weakness to a primitive species. We were both wrong about each other." Anna pointed to a screen showing the repair progress. "Look at that. The combined nanobot quantum technology has already fixed 300 ships. At this rate, we'll be done ahead of schedule." Just then, a young starborn child floated up to them. Their species could control their personal gravity. She handed them a drawing she had made. Crude stick figures of humans, and starborn holding hands around a blue and green planet. "The young one understands," Blue Voice said softly. "Together, we are stronger than alone." The next few days saw more breakthroughs. Human engineers learned about quantum physics from the starborn. while the aliens studied Earth's resilient technology. Medical teams from both species shared knowledge, creating new treatments that could help both races. In the repair bays, ships were being fixed faster than ever. The improved nanobots swarmed over damaged vessels, guided by combined human-starborn technical teams. What had seemed like an impossible task weeks ago now appeared completely achievable. As Reed looked out at Earth glowing blue and green below the station, he realized something important. This wasn't just about helping stranded aliens anymore. Humanity had gained something precious, proof that different species could work together, learn from each other, and build something greater than either could achieve alone. Maybe, he thought, watching a mixed group of human and starborn children drawing pictures together, this is how humanity takes its first real steps into the galaxy. The command center of Space Station 1 buzzed with excitement. James Walker stood before a large screen, presenting the latest repair statistics to a mixed audience of humans and starborn. The numbers were better than anyone had dared hope. Thanks to the combined nanobot quantum technology, James explained, pointing to the charts, we've now repaired over 40,000 ships. The remaining 10,000 will be finished within a week. Applause filled the room. Even the usually reserved Starborn Council members showed signs of joy. Blue Voice stepped forward, his voice carrying clear emotion. When we first arrived, he said, we thought Earth might offer basic help at best. We were wrong. Through your creativity and determination, you've done what we thought impossible. Anna Miller, who sat in the front row, raised her hand. But we couldn't have done it without your quantum knowledge. It's the combination of our technologies that made this work. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message. On the main screen appeared the face of Captain Tom Reed, who was overseeing repairs in the outer repair zone. You all need to see this, Reed said, his voice filled with amazement. The improved nanobots aren't just repairing the ships, they're making them better than before. The screen switched to show a starborn ship that had just completed repairs. Its hull gleamed with a new type of metal, a combination of Earth and starborn technology. Sensors showed it was now more resistant to radiation than ever. Swift Mind, the starborn engineer who had helped improve the nanobots, stepped up to explain. The nanobots learned from both our technologies. They created a new kind of protection we never thought possible. These ships are now stronger than when they were first built. News of this success spread quickly through the solar system. Other alien species who had been watching from afar began sending messages to Earth. They wanted to learn more about this young species that had achieved what older civilizations thought impossible. In the station's observation dome, Reed stood with Blue Voice, watching Earth's ships and repair stations working smoothly alongside starborn vessels. The Starborn Council has made a decision, Blue Voice announced. We wish to propose a formal alliance with Earth, not from gratitude alone, but because we've seen what humans can do. Your different way of thinking, your determination to help others, your ability to find simple solutions to complex problems. The galaxy needs these qualities. Reed smiled. I think Earth will be very interested in that alliance. Just then, they noticed something unusual through the dome's window. Hundreds of small lights were floating outside the station. As they watched, more appeared, until thousands of points of light surrounded them. The children, Blue Voice explained, his voice soft with wonder. Both human and starborn. They learned they could combine their art. Human children with their paper lanterns, our children with their light-shaping abilities. The sight was beautiful. Earth lanterns glowing with starborn light, creating patterns that danced among the stars. It was a perfect symbol of what their peoples had achieved together. In the repair yards, the work continued at an incredible pace. Teams of humans and starborn worked side by side, their different approaches to problems creating solutions neither would have found alone. The improved nanobots swarmed over the remaining ships, guided by the combined wisdom of both species. You know, James said to Anna as they watched another ship's repairs finish ahead of schedule, some people thought we were crazy to help aliens we'd never met before. Anna nodded, remembering those early debates. And now look, we've gained new friends, new knowledge, and shown the galaxy what humanity is really about. A group of young human engineers walked past, deep in conversation with starborn teachers about quantum physics. Nearby, Earth doctors learned about alien healing techniques while sharing their own medical knowledge. As the day ended, Captain Reed made a final entry in his log. When the starborn arrived, we thought we were just helping stranded travelers. Instead, we proved something important, that the best way to solve problems is to work together, share knowledge, and never give up. Today, humanity isn't just reaching for the stars. We're helping to make the galaxy a better place for everyone. Outside the station, Earth ships and starborn vessels moved in perfect coordination, their combined technologies working to finish the greatest rescue mission in human history. The stars seemed a little brighter that night, as if they too were celebrating what had been achieved. The morning sun rose over Earth, its light reflecting off thousands of newly repaired starborn ships. The last vessel had been fixed the previous night, 3 days ahead of schedule. Space Station 1's observation deck was packed with humans and starborn, all gathering for the farewell ceremony. Captain Reed stood at the podium, looking out at the mixed crowd. 3 months ago, these aliens had arrived as desperate refugees. Now they were leaving as friends and allies. When we first received your distress signal, Reed began, we didn't know what to expect. We just knew someone needed help. Today, we've gained much more than we gave. Blue Voice stepped up next to him. The starborn will never forget what Earth has done. But more than the repairs, you've taught us an important lesson. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones. Sometimes helping others is the greatest achievement of all. In the repair bay, Anna Miller and James Walker were saying goodbye to their starborn engineering friends. SwiftMind handed them a small crystal device. This contains all our quantum engineering knowledge, SwiftMind said. The Council agrees. Earth has earned the right to this technology. But honestly, we're more interested in learning your way of solving problems. Anna smiled, passing SwiftMind a data chip in return. This has all our nanobot designs and repair protocols. Together, maybe we can make something even better. The station's halls were filled with similar scenes. Human and starborn children exchanged drawings and small gifts. Doctors from both species shared final notes and promises to stay in contact. Engineers made plans for future collaboration. Near the main docking bay, the Starborn Council met with Earth's leaders. The meeting was brief but historic. Earth was being offered something unprecedented: membership in the Galactic Alliance, with special recognition as a species known for helping others. Your technology may be younger than ours, a council member said, but your hearts and minds have shown a wisdom many ancient races have forgotten. The galaxy needs more of what humanity has shown here. As the Starborn prepared to leave, their ships now stronger than ever, something unexpected happened. Other alien vessels began arriving at the edge of the solar system. Not threats this time, but diplomatic ships from various species. They all wanted to talk to the humans who had achieved the impossible. Looks like we're going to be busy, Reed said to Blue Voice as they watched the new arrivals. Blue Voice's expression showed what humans now recognize as amusement. The galaxy is changing. Other species have been watching. They saw how Earth helped us without asking for anything in return. Now they all want to know more about humanity. In the station's main hall, a large hologram displayed what had been accomplished. 50,000 ships repaired. Over 10 million lives saved. 200 new technologies created through human-starborn cooperation. 15 medical breakthroughs achieved. First Earth-Alien Alliance established. But the numbers didn't tell the whole story. In the 3 months since the Starborn arrived, humanity had proved something important. They showed that being technically advanced wasn't as important as being willing to help, to learn, and to work together. As the first Starborn ships began their departure sequence, they did something beautiful. Each ship released a shower of quantum light, creating a spectacular display around Earth. The lights formed patterns of both human and starborn symbols, a final gift of thanks. Captain Reed made his final log entry about the starborn rescue. Today marks not just the end of a rescue mission, but the beginning of humanity's true journey to the stars. We proved that Earth has something valuable to offer the galaxy, not the most advanced technology or the biggest fleet, but the willingness to help others and the creativity to find solutions where none seemed possible. The last starborn ship prepared to leave. Before it did, Blue Voice sent one final message to Earth. We came here thinking we would find a primitive world. Instead, we found humanity. You may be younger than us, but you have taught us the most important lesson of all. That true advancement isn't measured by technology, but by the willingness to help others. The galaxy is a better place because Earth exists. As Earth's first alien visitors departed, humanity looked to the stars with new confidence. They weren't just part of the galaxy now. They were helping to make it better, one problem at a time, one helping hand at a time. The story of the starborn rescue would be told across the galaxy for generations to come, not as a tale of advanced technology or great battles, but as proof that sometimes the greatest power isn't in weapons or machines, but in the simple choice to help others in need.